I'd like a word with you.
Or is it urgent?
Most urgent. Do you know an Esme Craigus Miles?
Oh, yes, she's my sister.
Residing at 4456 Urban Way?
What about her?
She,
Was she hurt?
I wish I could say that was all. Craigus, I have to tell you this. Your sister is in rapport.
You're lying.
One of our agents ran across this evidence. Due to your high position in the order, he gave it directly to me instead of to the Internal Affairs Committee.
Can't believe she'd do it.
According to this paper, she turned in her analysis questionnaire 3 weeks ago. They're usually rapportized within 3 days.
And my sister's been in rapport with a clicker for 2.5 weeks.
I'm sorry, my boy. I suggest you do what you can to see that this relationship is voided.
Naturally.
Certain of our ranks are jealous of your standing in the order. Our plans have been leaking out. This wouldn't look good.
I know. I'll put a stop to it.
According to the report, she's taken an R-49. They're expensive. Where could she have gotten the money?
Well, until last year, she was resident with Stefford Miles. When they signed a mutual release, the settlement was a large one.
She's an assistant editor at Telefax. The rapport of someone in that position could be most damaging to the work of the order.
I'll see her tonight.
I'll see who it is, Esme, dear. Do come in. Though we've never met, I'd know that you were...
Out of the way, Stick and Clicker. I came to see my sister.
Craigus.
Steve Craigus. Esme, what have you done?
Craigus, why did you come here?
To throw that clicker out.
That would be a dramatic gesture. You like dramatic gestures, don't you? You won't throw him out. Because you can't.
Your answer is no?
My answer is, go ahead and try.
Don't think I won't. He can't leave without your permission.
Affirmative.
You mean no?
I mean no. Negative. N-O. I won't have it.
I'm the head of the family.
And I've all that's left. Shall we take a vote?
Well, how can you do this to me? A thing like this? Are you really doing it out of spite? If so, why? What have I done to earn your hatred?
I don't hate you. I feel sorry for you.
Don't be trite. Be an artist, be a musician, even be a poet. But express your freedom some other way. You know how I've always felt about this sort of thing.
Do you know how I felt about it? Did you ask me? Did we discuss it? No. You had your business and I had mine. You never asked my advice. Why do you offer yours?
Esme, you have to understand. Perhaps, do you really realize the danger?
Craigus, do you think I was better off with Miles?
Miles was a man.
A beast. A filthy, stinking, drunken, insensitive beast.
Miles had his eccentricities, but he was still a man.
And that's so important. Pax is more of a man than Miles. Or you could ever be.
I'll show you how much of a man he is. Stripped of his sham, he's not very pretty, is he? There, that's how much of a man he is.
Thanks, Craigus, for proving my point. Pax is much more of a man than you are. He could never do to you what you've just done to him. You'd better put some sealer on your arm, dear. Craigus, you're a fool.
Do you suppose reorientation would help?
Help you or me? I think it might make something of you if you're willing to try.
You know my position in the order. How do you suppose this makes me look?
I hadn't really considered it.
You understand what the Brotherhood really does?
Perfectly. You hold meetings, wear ridiculous clothes. You tell each other how superior we are to the robots. Because you know we're not.
We are.
You're pitiful. You aren't just charging windmills. You're trying to hold back the ocean with a sponge. Attacking packs. The idea.
Well, that was stupid of me.
He turned off his pain circuits, and you accomplished exactly nothing.
I don't see how you could do it.
Pax and I are in rapport. We're in harmony. He understands me perfectly. He instinctively knows what I want. I just think of something and it's done, because he thinks of it at the same time. There are no arguments. He's dedicated to keeping me happy. And I am happy.
You love that machine?
I love Pax.
And it doesn't make any difference to you that he could be doing the same thing for anyone else who bought him.
You're wrong. If he'd been bought by someone else, he'd be in rapport with them.
I don't understand you, Craigus.
You're not supposed to. Do you expect me to be friendly toward you?
If you want to be.
Well, I don't.
If you wanted to hurt me, I'd like you to know that you have.
How?
By humiliating yourself. You know I must consider your well-being above anything else.
That makes me feel better.
Good.
Can't you see they're killing us with consideration? Splitting us into atrophy? What would Father have thought about this?
You're thinking of Pax as a person, aren't you?
Of course not.
Then why do you wait till he's out of the room before you say something that might embarrass him? You know he can't take offense.
I just don't like to talk around those things.
Afraid of their logic?
Stick to the subject. What would Father have thought about this?
You should know. You inherited all of his prejudices. Oh, what a flesh and blooder he would have made. Uniforms, boots, little silver knives to rattle.
Stop it.
Father was against everything. Space travel, atomic energy, synthetic foods. Remember how he loved to tell about storming the weather control station?
I didn't agree with him on those points.
My point is that you both felt an inherent need to be up in arms about something.
Well, Father would have seen to it that...
Oh, you both would have been great back in the days when war was a national pastime. You could have fired bombs and guns and thrown spears. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful time you both could have had.
And I'm the one who likes dramatics.
You could have brought progress to a halt for years.
I feel sorry for you, Craigus. It must be a terrible thing to be so afraid.
Afraid? Me? Why don't you put your gears in reverse and get out of here?
You know that's impossible. I can't leave unless Esme wants me to.
Esme, tell him to go.
I have no intention of doing that.
Well, what do your neighbors think about all this?
Those who know don't mind. Others don't care. You've been wrapped up in that little world of prejudiced ostrich friends of yours for so long, you don't know what's going on in the world outside.
Such as what?
Did you know there have been over 100,000 applications for rapport in the first 3 months of this year?
Our records on that sort of thing are fairly complete. Don't you realize the implication of that? If everything is done for us, there'll be no incentive. No need for personal achievement. Even now we're losing ground.
Losing ground?
Ground. Knowledge. Machines do all the work for us. Why should we learn mathematics when the computers can find the solutions better and faster? We don't even control them anymore. The brains are designed by other brains. The robots improve themselves. We don't know how. We give them data, they give us answers.
We only supply means to your ends.
Yeah, our end.
Every day and every way, we're becoming weaker and weaker.
And you're helping us over the hill.
We are over the hill. I can't stop us. Neither can you.
First, there were the plants. They developed into animals which ate the plants. The animals were small, but they grew. And the larger animals ate the smaller animals.
What does that mean?
So far, according to history, each dynasty devises its own end. The animal develops a brain, and the brain destroys the animal.
Our brains conceived you robots. Are you threatening to destroy us?
Oh, no. We are by no means sure that we are the next step. It's just that in view of the cycle, we are the best we have to offer to help you. The cycle is rather inexorable.
That's treason.
No, it isn't. It's logic. I have to be logical.
That must be Maxine.
Who the hell is Maxine?
Girl I work with down at Telefax.
Does she usually come calling at 2:30 in the morning?
You did.
Well, that was because of your idiotic alliance. What's she here for?
To help us celebrate.
Celebrate what?
My rapport, darling. My rapport. And if you're going to continue being antagonistic to it, I wish you'd leave. Now.
Maxine, how are you?
Fine. You must be Pax.
You must be right. You're too lovely to be wrong. Here, let me take your surcoat.
Thanks. Hi, Ed.
Hello, Maxine. Come in.
Pax, you're wonderful. He's so glib, I'll bet he even has a sense of humor.
He'd better have. I paid extra for it. Say something funny, Pax.
Don't put me on, dear. I have a sense of humor, but I'm not creative.
Maxine, you're late.
Only 2 hours? For me, that's almost early. Really, I am sorry. I was called back to the office. A report came in that an R-34 had killed a human being. You can imagine what a stir that caused.
Craigus, your eyes are sticking out like a snail's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is my brother Craigus.
Oh? I'm so happy to meet you. Esme's told me about you.
Well, she's never told me about you. I didn't mean that to be as tactless as it sounded. I only meant that if she had, I would have arranged to meet you sooner.
You did. At 6:33 last evening, outside Telefax.
I remember. I'm flattered that you remembered, too. Oh, and I want to apologize if I seem rude.
You should be flattered, Maxine. This is the first time I've seen the Craigus react as if a woman were anything other than a poorly designed man.
Between my career and my voluntary work for the Order, I haven't had too much time in my hands.
I'm surprised to find the flesh and blood are here. Is the Brotherhood becoming less hidebound?
No.
What would you like to drink?
I'll have what the Craigus is having.
Coming right up.
Well, what kind of work do you do at Telefax?
Bottom rung, the routing room. But I'll have you know that I have 8 robots and a real live girl under me.
Most impressive.
And they promised to promote me to research next month.
Maxine is an authority on political science. Her father's a director at the Ministry of Politics.
Something I've wondered about. Things are run by the hierarchy of ministries. What is the exact function of the Ministry of Politics?
For the coordination of the other ministries. Then, too, they service the selector.
Politics was once the means of choosing the leaders. Now, the machines do it.
Machines merely analyze the data given to them by us. The leaders are selected as a result of that analysis.
Do you know how the machine analyzes the data?
Well, no, not exactly.
Then how do you know if the father-mother uses all the data you give it? How do you know whether or not supplementary data is considered?
We don't.
Then you might almost say that the machines elect the leaders, that the Ministry of Politics is expendable. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm circuited to be logical and yet not to offend. That sometimes poses an insoluble problem.
I understand.
You see what I mean?
Please, I've given you a negative feeling. I must apologize.
Well, didn't you recognize that possibility?
I've embarrassed your guests. Shall I turn myself off?
You only said what I thought.
This is impossible.
Craigus, we fall in love when we see a part of ourselves reflected in another person. In the rapport operation, a part of me became Pax. I won't discuss this any further.
And I won't hear of it any further. I must go now.
May I go with you?
You find this atmosphere uncomfortable?
I'm fascinated by it. And by you. May I?
Would you?
But you just got here.
Esme, I know this sounds silly, but I really just came by to apologize for being so late. I'll come again later this week, and on time. It's almost 3 now. Congratulations. I know you'll be very happy.
Thanks, Maxine. There are still a few little adjustments to be made.
No. Pax was right. And so are you.
I hope I didn't.
You didn't.
This matter is far from closed. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
As different as our viewpoints are, psychologically, philosophically, in every way, do you think it will help any?
Craigus, please don't dislike me too much. Nobody asks to be created.
Good night.
Good night, darlings.
What is it, dear? Darling, you're leaving me out of something.
I'm sorry. It's the sense of humor. It's a lot more difficult to control than pain.
Why are you laughing, Pax?
For the reason everyone laughs.
Pax, what is it?
Irony. One of the funniest forms of humor.
What irony?
I'm not permitted to answer. I'm contra-circuited. I don't want to make 2 mistakes in one night.
I'm offended by not knowing.
The knowledge would be more offensive.
Pax?
I love you, Esme.
Pax, what would you do if something happened to me?
I am you. Anything that happens to you happens to me. Oh, this covering, this housing might go on and on for centuries. Pax wouldn't.
I shouldn't have done that.
I thought you never would.
Then you experienced it too.
Outside Telefax, there was a sort of tingle and then at Esme's, I felt a sensation of exciting attraction.
Well, I'm not a young man. Pretty well past the age to contract, as a matter of fact. Well, I've never been affected like this before. I feel like a schoolboy. I can't stop looking at you.
I guess I always thought this was just something that always happened to someone else. It's like Esme said. You fall in love, and you see some part of yourself reflected in another person.